Brian Mailer is here. I guess do you need to say anything before Brian?
No, you've got some information in front of you. Just the fact that we bought uniforms for athletic teams over the first couple of years, and the band members, thanks to the fact that the colors of the uniforms look pretty good together, have worn Sac and Walleye Few Auburn uniforms, and the request is for band uniforms. So Brian, it's yours.
I'd like to take just a quick minute before I dive into this to brag just a second about our music department. Saturday we went to the state large group contest in Storm Lake. Chris Frisbee and the choir received a 1. We had a few incidents that day. We just missed it by a point, but very, very proud of our kids. Another example of good things going on at our school. I've got a lot of things to share with you, and if you're anything like me, just saying them to you doesn't sink in, so I've put it up here on the board, and I hope you can all see it from back there, about the uniforms. First of all, why do we need to do band uniforms like Barb just had said? The ones we have don't match. And, you know, originally when the schools went together, Andy Meredith and I talked about the need for new uniforms, and we both decided that we could get by for a year or two, and that was fine, knowing that eventually we would need some, and we feel like that time is here. The WLVA uniforms are 12 years old, and the SAC uniforms are 8 years old. Obviously, this is going to help us build pride in the band and in the school. It will also clear up confusion with storage of uniforms. As it is right now, we've got way more uniforms than we have places to keep them. So, when we have them all in our room at the beginning of the year, check them out to the students, we don't have a place for them to keep it at school, so they have to take it home. Well, home usually means the trunk of their car or the back seat, and the next concert comes out, oh yeah, I better get that uniform out of the trunk, and it's dusty and wrinkled and whatnot. If we could get that down to a manageable number of uniforms that are the same and the right sizes for our group, hopefully it would not only look better, but hopefully make them last a little bit longer too. And one thing that we found out that we didn't anticipate is sizing issues. Having the right number of uniforms for 2 separate bands does not equate to the right number of uniforms for one larger band. We found out the hard way. How many uniforms do we need? These are the numbers of students we have in all the levels of band right now. As you can see, not many upperclassmen in the band right now, but a lot of promising numbers coming up in the 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th grades. This year, we have 54 students in the high school band. If we weren't to lose anyone in the next 2 years, we would have 107. Now that never happens. We always have attrition by students moving out, students who choose not to stay with the band, other factors. But as you can see, the numbers are there to increase significantly over the next couple of years. How are the uniforms fitted to the student? It's not just a small, medium, large thing. It's a lot like buying a suit coat. You have your different sizes, 40 short, 40 regular, 40 long, extra long, so on and so forth. There's many different sizes as far as those coats go. The trousers are fit much like pants, with waist and outseam. They're a lot more adjustable than the coats are, just because they're trousers and you can adjust them this way and this way. An ample supply of extra uniforms must be available. In fact, our Dumoulin uniform representative recommends 30 to 35% extra of what students you have because of different sizes that you might need multiples of. An example of that, between the WLVA and SAC uniforms, we have 130 uniforms. Yet first semester we had 2 boys who could not find a uniform that fit properly. And that goes back to the whole thing that I was talking about, where enough uniforms for 2 separate bands is not necessarily enough uniforms for one larger band. We had 2 larger boys, and we only had 1 larger uniform between the 2 of us. And so they ended up having to wear suit coats. I mean, it worked out, but obviously that's not the optimal situation to be in. Our Dumoulin uniform representative suggested that we buy 100 uniforms. Chris McCurdy, who is our Dumoulin uniform representative, has sold uniforms to 2/3 of all the high school bands in Iowa over the past 10 years, including just about every school in this area who has bought them. The SAC uniforms were bought from Chris. The WLBA uniforms were bought from Dumoulin before Chris had taken over. It was actually his father-in-law that was selling them at the time. 100 uniforms seems like a lot for the numbers we have right now, and I understand that. 54, that's nearly double what we have right now, but we're trying to look towards the future and how many we're going to need. It's been my experience and I count Sac City as a previous job in this instance. In my previous 2 positions, my second year has always been my lowest number of students. You come in, and we found this to be true with a lot of other band directors at other schools as well. You come in, there's a whole new set of expectations, a whole new personality, and so there's an adjustment period and that type of thing. And I think if you throw in on top of that the fact that we started a whole new school and kids are still trying to find their niche and what activities it is that they want to be in, we kind of hit a bit of a slump this year, and that's okay. I think it's going to come back. One thing that I think is going to help with that is, as you know from last month when I came and bugged you then, we're talking about doing a trip in a couple of years, and most teachers will tell you that that's a great tool for retention, keeping more students out in the program. And quite frankly, one of the biggest problems we're having is a conflict with a lot of students trying to get these college credit classes. And it's not the actual college credit class that bothers us. It's that, okay, if they're taking that here, well, now I got to get English here and then this here, and well, I don't have time for band or choir. And we've been told that there's a new availability for the online classes that some of these teachers are going to be using, and then starting next year, and we're hoping that that's going to alleviate some of those problems. So why not buy some uniforms now, then add more as needed? My first worry is we've gone to the community and asked for some money. We've gone to the booster groups, and now I'm coming to you folks about the money. I would hate to see in a couple of years we have to go back and ask for more, and because I think that seems to be like a confusion thing amongst the communities. I recall a few years back with the SAC uniforms, we had them sent off to the dry cleaner for the summer, and we didn't have them back in time for our first home game, so we weren't able to wear them for that. And I got a lot of comments as to, I donated money 3-4 years ago, how come our uniforms aren't on the field? And I think it would be a similar type of situation. I just donated 3-4 years ago for uniforms. Why do I have to donate again? The next one is slow turnaround time. The uniforms take approximately 4 months from the time of order until we receive them. You really don't receive a definitive class list until you show up in August. So if we had a student that didn't fit in one, or if we had not enough uniforms for the students that we had, the earliest we would probably have them is hopefully by the Christmas concert. So you really can't just go off of, okay, we've got this many signed up for band, let's order some more uniforms. And finally, this is, I feel, is probably the most major one. Quantity discounts at 10, 30, and 70 uniforms. And quite frankly, I don't know what the quantity discounts are at 10 and 30. I've been told they're not a lot, but I can show you that the 70 uniforms discount is quite a bit. The uniforms that we picked out are very basic. They're not fancy, they don't have a lot of frills, bells and whistles, but they are definitely not cheap. A coat for one uniform is $402.31. Trousers are $130.97. Hats $71.50, and plumes $27.31. So a total list price for a uniform is $632. There's kind of two major band uniform sales companies. Dumoulin, the one that we've been dealing with, and then there's Fruhoff. A colleague of mine teaches band in Spencer, and he bought his through Fruhoff, which he suggested that we never do.